Holy smokes, this is pretty crazy here. LevelCapGaming, new to the Star Citizen verse, bringing in droves of citizens from other games, bringing them in, if you will, like a dealer of sorts, hooking them onto the drug that is Star Citizen. Shame on you. No, we love it. Keep doing it. But he says the turning point for Star Citizen, he has an enlightened mind now. He just got into Star Citizen and he understands right now what the turning point is. Holy shit, he's got the magical elixir. Holy God, what is it, LevelCap? Tell us now. Tell me, LevelCap, what is this turning point? Tell it to me, oh new Padawan who looks like a Jedi. Let's figure it out.
This week has had some pretty darn good news for Star Citizen fans, which frankly we needed. Many fans of the game were expecting a potential...
I think the only people that needed it were the people that were children or don't understand what this game is and have no fucking patience. So let's just be real for a second.
delay for the big 3.8...
No. Is it here yet? Is it done yet? Oh, is it here yet? Oh my God, when is it done? Is it done yet? Oh.
18 persistence patch. However, on Wednesday, CIG said that we're still on track to get 3.18 to the test servers by the...
Oh no, 3.18 isn't here yet. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. Get some big boy pants right now. Put them on. Put them on, children.
I'm talking to you.
Put the pants
You
on.
wake up in the morning,
Put your big boy pants on. You gotta go outside.
Look, I'm wearing the belt.
You gotta
I
live
got big boy
life.
pants on.
You need to live
Put a little
life.
jacket,
Put
you
the
go.
big boy pants
Take your
on.
lunch because you got big boy pants on.
All the children that
your
click
big boy
this video
pants
for
in
the
your
turning
sack.
point that can't handle it. Put those big boy pants on.
end of the month. However, they do still anticipate 2 to 3 months of PTU testing before pushing 3.18 to the live
2 whole months. Oh my God, I can't take it. 2 whole months, I can't take it. Oh my God, what's gonna happen? Oh.
servers in the first half of November. This, of course, is still a big delay compared to
it's
the
huge.
letter from the chairman.
Oh, this is a huge delay. Oh my God, I can't. Oh no, it's the end of the world. Oh my God.
Timeline, but I do think that everyone is just generally getting excited that it's getting closer and closer to actually being tested and, well, witnessed. Talking about what's possible versus witnessing what's possible are two very, very different things in the Star Citizen universe. Persistent entity streaming and the replication layer tech is a huge step for this game, and if you don't fully understand the gravity of that situation, I recommend checking out this video where I explain just how cool some of Star Citizen's upcoming tech really is. Now, some of the downsides to the news that we got this week were some of the future content delays. The RSI Apollo, which is a dedicated medical...
Love this, love this. Give this applause. I can't wait for this. I cannot wait for this fucking shit. I love this. I love this. I love this.
Rescue ship, and the Tumbril Ranger, which is basically a planetary exploration motorcycle, were delayed due to shifting priorities, mainly with Squadron 42 things needing more focus. People have been wanting the Apollo for quite some time, but considering that it would require quite a few new systems and even mission trees, it's understandable why it's not being progressed over other aspects of the game right now. They did, however, add a new ship to the progress tracker, and that is the Aopa Santakiai, which I'm sure I'm pronouncing incorrectly. It is a medium fighter for the Xi'an. I personally really like the Cartual light fighter from the Xi'an, so I'm excited to see what a medium variant can do, and I like ships that change up the propulsion ideology for the typical spacecraft. Xi'an ships allow you to more or less accelerate in all directions very quickly, making them difficult to predict in combat.
Also, I love the controls. We all understand this particular, posture. Most of us, we all love this posture when we fly. That's why I love the Cartual. The controls in the Cartual, very squishy. Very, very squishy. Feels good on the hands.
Combat, and it's also just fun as a pilot to have different capabilities. Alien ships also just make me really happy, so the more that we have in game, the better in my opinion. I also think they just really need some more very alien-like weapons to go with them, maybe some beam stuff or whatever, just something that feels less
perhaps some alien goo, you know, some type of alien sexual devices, which we all are interested in. And I agree with what he's saying here.
Laser gunny than what we currently have.
Controls,
the work for this
Thanks
ship is scheduled to go throughout June, though, and we don't know if that means if it'll actually be completed then.
Probably
Hopefully
not.
They can also give the Cartual a gold pass while they're at it, considering that the current ship can't even properly land at the moment. Now, this week's episode of Inside Star Citizen was one that players have been waiting on for quite a long time. A detailed look at salvage and hole stripping. This is going to be a new gameplay loop available in 3.18 and only possible in 3.18 due to persistence. When spaceships are destroyed in the upcoming 3.18 patch, it's less likely that they'll just vaporize, but instead they'll crash on a planet or become disabled in space. From there, they could be repaired, but it's more likely that they'll be salvaged for raw materials. Eventually, entire ships could be broken down, but the first tier of salvage will be hole stripping. This can be done by hand with the new 3.18 hand salvage tool or with the two salvage ships.
I was so
the
excited
Drake
when we saw
Vulture
this.
and the Aegis Reclaimer. Both ships can kind of use these beam weapons or tools to kind of suck the raw materials off of the surface of a ship and then produce containers with the raw whole material, which can then be sold or I believe also reused in repair operations.
I mean, do you guys understand how cool this is? I mean, the ability to change the actual texturing of the ship and that it stays persistent as you salvage it. So if you don't salvage the whole thing and somehow you can repair the ship with the outside texturing being completely like scrapped, it stays that way. You understand? Like, this is something that is so freaking awesome. It's gonna plug into the economic gameplay. It's gonna plug into the profession gameplay. Like, you know, so many people have been waiting for this. It's a big thing that's going to happen. So I'm very excited about it.
A cool new gameplay loop could be where bounty hunters can shoot down an enemy ship. They could then see where the enemy ship crashes, land next to that wreck, and then use their own hand tools to hole strip the crash ship.
People are thinking so small. People are thinking so small. Like, it's so funny. Like, oh, you will blow up one ship. You're going to blow up one. I see this example by all these content creators. None of them think outside the box. They're all thinking one ship, right? Imagine, right, a reclaimer in a field of ships that you've destroyed. Imagine an org battle of 50 to 100 ships easily. Imagine a field of ships to salvage. Right. I never hear this shit at all. I always say, oh, you're going to blow up one ship and then you're going to turn around and then you're going to land and then you're going to beep, 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 boop, boop, beep, boop, boop, beep, boop. Oh, boop. Children.
To repair their own after the combat. I really like this idea, and it's especially a neat concept for, say, PvP, where winning a fight might not always mean limping back to a space station with a disabled ship that you have to repair for a hefty fee. Your opponent's ship might...
With persistence, imagine a graveyard of ships that is continually fought over. And if people don't understand how cool that is, they should not even attempt to play this game. Like that don't play this game. Like, literally, oh my god, you're so horrible, DG. You're so horrible. Like, if you can't grasp that concept and the amount of cool that will bring, don't play this game. Don't do it.
Might actually have the materials needed to fix your own. Now, the massive Reclaimers multi-crew approach to salvage is pretty interesting, having two massive salvage beams and a massive salvage bay to store materials. The Reclaimer is designed to eventually be able to crunch the structure of a ship as well, so hole stripping would be like the step one for this ship. I don't know how I feel about players having to manually stack the boxes in the cargo bay. It seems like an automated system makes way more sense than that the current design.
We need everything easy. We need everything easy. Just automatically, magically do it. Just auto-magically do it. can you just automatically do everything for me? Can you just automatically do it? I don't want to have to do it.
Design is more a result of potentially poor early game design, not considering what
it's poor. It's poor early game design.
the end game process should be. And I'm not sure how many people want to be the box guy in the back of the ship, but
listen, if you have a crew, right? If you have a crew, then you can assign people to be box guys, or you can all just pitch in and be box guys, or perhaps they're going to design a bot that can pick the boxes up. Do you ever think maybe something like that might happen? You know, we just brought this in. To say that this is poor game design when we just brought this in is naive and ignorant, because it will evolve just like everything else has, like mining. Like, come on here. Come on with this shit. I am so tired of hearing shit like this. It's ridiculous. It's a lack of imagination. It's a lack of understanding the game development industry. When I hear things like this,
who knows how much labor it's actually going to be. The fact that the Reclaimer is going to be able to actually do something soon is very exciting for people who have owned this ship for years and years and years and years without really being able to use it for anything. I hope it also gets some good atmospheric flight tuning as well, as it's pretty challenging to, well, actually go down to a planet's surface and then exit the atmosphere, as the thrusters are, well, not really up to the task in many.
It's challenging.
Situations. Now today, Jared Huckabee and several big brain developers hosted a live community chat answering questions about persistent entity streaming and how it's actually going to work well in practice. And this is actually really good that they did this, because honestly, it's confusing. Some of the bigger takeaways are how shards will work. Items are going to be shard specific. Shards are basically servers in this case, and you can't control which server or shard that you're going to connect to.
Also, I would like to hear from myself here, because as we know, the most important thing to persistence and meshing and server meshing are DGs. It's me. Secret ingredient that will make meshing work, everyone. Can I get an amen on that? We just need a whole bunch of DGs. I'm going to copy myself. Pepe, give me the replicating gun.
Yes, sir.
Give me the replicating gun. Right now, we're going to make more of myself. We are going to make more of myself right now. Hold on 1 second. No.
So say if you stash something on a planet and then reconnect and land on that planet again to look for the item, well, unless you just happen to reconnect to the same shard, that item's probably not going to be there. Someone else might reconnect to the same shard where you left the object on the planet and find it, but there's a good chance that you won't reconnect to the same one. Now that said, the number of shards will be reduced as server meshing is integrated down the road, and even further reduced as dynamic server meshing is integrated. It's possible to get to a point where you can more or less expect to always plan to reconnect to the same shard at some point, but again, the persistent tech is so early that the devs didn't want to commit to anything like that just yet. They are, after all, still just trying to get the very first implementation of it out to the public for testing.
Yeah, that's why you watch this channel, Explodo, because I'm entertaining. And, you know, I make this portion of the news very entertaining, because we've all heard this a lot of times. We all know what's next. We all know what's missing. And we all just keep hearing the same thing in an echo chamber by 1,000 different content creators that think they're the first ones to ever say it. And it's crazy. That's why I don't do, like, a lot of people go, why don't you do the news, DG? Why don't you do that? Because dudes, there's a plethora. There is a plethora of it. It's too much. It's too much.
Building, which is a down-the-road profession and an endgame gameplay loop. Bases should persist between shards, but again, this is something that is still being discussed and is probably highly dependent on how the current tech rolls out. Now, one of the bigger concerns with persistent entity streaming is objects being replicated to the point of, well,
I'll tell you who I go to for like news. I'll go to Super Mac Brothers, I will go to Board Gamer, and I will go to Noobifier. I feel like those three are really good sources of news. They're very factual. They do it quick and to the point, and that's how I like all the news and the updates. Those are the three that I go to. That's the trifecta for the news. I don't go to LevelCapGaming or anybody else. I don't know who do you guys go to when you guys are looking for news? Futz says yes, he agrees. Super Mac Brothers. Yeah, he does. I love Ryan. Ryan's a very cool dude. He's always been very friendly with me. He's a nice guy. And like, I love the way he goes about like reporting everything. Super Mac and Board Are My News also says Explodo. Right. Everyone else is too slow and just repeating. Right. Salty Mike, nah. Salty Mike goes too back and forth for me. Like Salty Mike's too clickbait for me. He's like, yes, no, and he knows what he's doing, and it's very baity, and it works. You know, like that's his style, and it works. It's working for him, so good for him. But like, I don't fall for the whole salty thing. I like a little bit more pepper. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like I like just solid news reporting. I like just factual, quick news reporting for news, you know? His week in review, I caught his week in review a couple times, and it's entertaining. However, I wouldn't say that I get my news from Salty Mike, you know? It's very, like, he's very opinionated. He is a very opinionated dude, and I appreciate those, like, op-ed types of pieces, but I feel like he just fluctuates so much that I just, you know, I don't go to Salty Mike for news, you know. Montoya's pretty solid. Yeah, Montoya's pretty solid. I agree with that. But I would say those three. I might add Montoya. You know, I might add Montoya. Tactical Advance, man. I grew up with Tactical Advance when I was a little baby DG. In 2015, when I really first started covering Star Citizen, Tactical Advance AA is exactly who I would go to. I thought Tactical Advance, and welcome to Tactical Advance, man. Whatever happened to Tactical? Is he still doing his stuff? Thank you, Red Bear. If you wanna chill and have a good time, look, I'm just like you guys. Like, I sit down, I watch shit just like you guys. You guys are telling me like cool things to watch. I sit down, I comment on what it is that I'm watching. I tell you how I'm feeling about it with everything I know about the project, and I go from there, and we just have a blast. I mean, like, I feel like I'm the luckiest dude in the world. I just get to sit down, chill like you guys, and we all just have a great time together. Like, that's what I feel like we are here, you know?
Just crashing servers for everyone.
Thank you.
They did talk about having a density manager for persistent entity streaming, and that will be a big part of the PTU experience, is just getting that tweaked. That means despite objects remaining in the universe indefinitely, you can't just propagate the universe with like thousands upon thousands of things and just have them stay there forever. The server is going to have item limitations to make sure that people don't crash servers or overload it to the point where players can't run the game because there'll be too many objects and their frame rates will crash. This will be a big part of the PTU experience as that's getting tweaked. If the PTU keeps breaking the universe with tons of object density breaking the experience, then they'll have to tweak the code accordingly. Persistent entity streaming truly is
when persistence gets in the way that we want it to, things will be timed, right? Like, all the Recs will be timed out eventually. They will stay there to a point. I believe at some particular point they will have like a duration of time as the thing degrades down to nothing, and then it'll disappear so that it doesn't have a load on the server, you know, in terms of the memory. So I also think that we are like the trash men. I think salvage is really important, and not a lot of people talk about this, because salvaging actually cleans up the object containers and takes them off the server. So salvaging is very important in the realm of like garbage collecting, you know? So I don't hear a lot of people talk about that and how a lot of the object containers will be taken off of the server because of us. And also, I believe they're going to have NPCs do those types of tasks as well, through the algorithm primarily. So you're not going to be able to see it unless you're instanced with the NPCs, as explained by Tony Z in CitizenCon 2019. Was it 2019? I think it was 2019. He talked about that.
Is a massive unknown for Star Citizen and just gaming in general. Nobody has made a game of this scale where everything can just remain in existence more or less indefinitely, and I have no doubt that the lessons learned here are going to take, well, kind of years to fully grasp. Now, beyond some of those big ticket
A
weekly
few, maybe.
items,
He might
the
be right on
Carrack
that.
spaceship, kind of a bigger multi-crew ship, which is really cool. It actually won the community-voted Ship Showdown contest, which is neat if you care about that kind of thing. It and 3 other ships are going to get custom skins eventually in-game, so if you own those ships, you will get those skins for free. There is a pirate-themed week happening right now with some Ninetales in-game events kicking off. Some custom skins that you can buy in accordance to those, and there's also a free fly week happening right now. If you haven't played the
Yeah, no, okay, I'm done with this. But you know, here's the thing. Like, I appreciate LevelCap doing this, but I'm not getting my news from LevelCap, so I'm kind of done with this, and it's getting a little bit more boring, as the news tends to do, you know. And that's why I think people that want to cover news should just go bing bang boom. If you're a content creator and you want to cover Star Citizen news or any news for that matter, here's a good channel to go for gaming news that I highly recommend you copy the model because it is hugely successful, and that is Bellular News. I don't know if you guys have heard of Bellular News, but this guy does gaming news like boom, and he knows the industry. Very, very cool channel. I don't know if you guys ever heard about Bellular News. Great gaming news channel. In terms of Star Citizen news, like we said, Board Gamer, Super Mac Brothers, and Noobifier. And if you want the quickest, down to the nitty grittiest quickest, go to Noobifier, because Noobifier is just like bang, bang, bang. You know, yeah, Bell is legit. So a lot of you guys, yeah, it can be a little bit boring because it's news, right, Red? So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, people that, like, this is just a pro content creator tip. And this goes to LevelCap. He's probably not watching, but like, this goes out to LevelCap too. Constructive criticism is just like bang, 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 and done. And then next, you know, like, that's the news pieces should be short and to the point. This one's like 11 minutes, so that's not too long, actually. That's pretty concise, but like, you can shorten it even further and just go, or just like, you know, right, little less monotone, right, keep it like exciting a little bit, try and jazz it up. He's put in footage here, which is really good. Like, he's spicing it up with footage, so I appreciate the editing, but still, like, it's a little monotonous, and it needs to kind of, you know what I mean? Yeah. You guys we're on the same wavelength. I love when the chat and I are on the same wavelength. I love you guys.